Man, in honor of you being back on the sideshow for like a third time, we got to do a drink here, man. Salud.
Salud.
Oh, hey guys. Oh, are we having drinks? I needed a few beers. All right.
Welcome to the Almost Sideshow, everyone. My name is Adam, and I'm joined by Terry, and also Todd is returning today as well. And today's episode is episode 10 of season 4 of the Almost Sideshow, where we're breaking down Breaking Bad.
Breakdown of Breaking Bad.
Yeah, welcome everybody back to the Sideshow. And Todd, your third time's back. We must have not scared you off too bad, so that's awesome.
Yeah, well, I chose to be back, so yes, this is a
contract.
I mean, it's a great one to be back for, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You called this episode like when we started this season, so I'm glad you're on for this one. This one's a good one.
Yeah, it's a great episode to be back on, unless you're a cartel member. But yeah.
Yes,
True.
That is a good point.
It's a great thing. Yeah, this is going to be a really fun conversation. As we're diving into it, there's some really good, quiet, somber moments in there with an awesome final act of this episode. Really awesome stuff here. We can see the aftermath of the fight between Walter and Jesse, and who came out victorious and shining like $1 million, or who just needed a couple more beers. But this episode
who came out shining like $1 million, and who just came out with a shiner.
Yeah, that's even better.
And it ended up in his underwear again.
Yeah, in front of his son, his 30-year-old, 16-year-old. This episode is called Salud, and it is aired September 18th, 2011. This is going to be a fun conversation. So, you guys have anything you want to share before we jump into that synopsis?
Let's do it. Let's jump in. Let's get this over with. Let's go. We got too much to talk about. Here we go. Season 4, episode 10 of Breaking Bad is entitled Salud.
Cheers.
Cheers. 3 stories are being told in this action-packed episode. We've got Walt and Walter Jr., we've got Skyler and Ted, and then we have Gus, Mike, and Jesse. Let's start with Walt and Walter Jr.
Please.
It's Walter Jr.'s sweet 35. I mean, 16.
God, he
gets his new car, but a PT Cruiser will never measure up to a Challenger, even if it does drive great. It may be his birthday, but Dad is nowhere to be found. Why? He is busy nursing his wounds from his brawl with Jesse. Walter Jr. checks on him, and a combination of pain meds and alcohol have Walt pretty delirious. He breaks down in a way we don't see Walt do, and Walter Jr. decides he needs to stay the night to keep an eye on him. Walt's ashamed, and Walter Jr. is just happy he was real for once. Now, on to Ted and Skyler. Skyler decides to give Ted the money to pay his tax debts. Well, Great Aunt Birgit left him the money thanks to Saul. So what does Ted do? He leases a Mercedes and starts his business back up, hoping to get a deal from the tax guys. Skyler tells him off, reveals herself as his mystery guardian angel, and orders him to pay his taxes. Ted tells her to leave, and he'll do what he wants. That's going to go over well. Now, Gus, Mike, and Jesse in Mexico. Jesse has to prove himself as a competent cook and does admirably. So, he's staying in Mexico to continue cooking for the cartel? Don Eladio says yes, and Gus says yes. Mike assures Jesse all will work out. To celebrate their new partnership and Gus being put back in his proper place, Gus brings Don Eladio some top-notch tequila, which they all toast with. Then everyone starts collapsing as it becomes clear Gus poisoned the booze. Gus throws up most of it, but the effects are still hitting him. Don Eladio falls dead into his pool where Gus's partner died years earlier. Ah, the poetry. Mike and Jesse help Gus to a car to escape. before they can drive away, Mike is shot, and Jesse unloads a clip into a guy without hesitating. Jesse drives off with a wounded Mike and a poisoned Gus. Fade to black.
Yes.
All right, Adam.
Beautiful. Before my audio cut out, I remember the actual opening. I wanted to say, welcome to the Almost Sideshow, where we bring you the visual gags on the audio medium. That should have been the opening, but anyway.
Yay!
This was a fantastic episode. Brilliant 3-act structure with 3 different stories telling or being told simultaneously. There's one I really liked a lot. I love the Walter and Walter Jr. stuff. I think that was you get to see the state of Walter is at, senior is at, and I love that he made a mistake. He went gambling again. My wife's commentary was that's actually a really smart plan because he's going to not tell his mom because he knows how Skylar is. That's really really smart there. And but that he feels the remorse of he messed up. He shouldn't have tracked Jesse's car, and he feels bad for the fight from the aftermath from the other episode here. And just having those real moments with Walter and Walter Jr. Was also awesome. That the only stuff that we've said this a lot. I think this episode you can truly feel how old this kid actually is. When they clearly say you're 16 and my goodness, yeah, I'm pretty sure Zac Efron can probably play a teenager still compared to this guy. Maybe not so much, but anyway,
He's
still
only
really
31 now, dude. He wasn't that old. He was like maybe 20.
He just looks old. He really does.
Life can weigh on a person differently, I guess. That's what I'll say. No, but I like the moments between them. I think they both really just were able to share something really kind of refreshing that hadn't been quite done yet in the episode, especially a father and son moment. And we actually hear more of Walter Sr.'s father's backstory, which is something that up to that point I don't think he was really mentioned too much. I know that his mom has been mentioned a couple times. That was really awesome. I love the poetry of going back to the place where the original cook died with Gus, and seeing it kind of have another bloody finale at the very ending there. Mike getting brutal up in that guy's neck with that piano wire. That was freaking awesome. Make yourself useful, kid. Grab a gun. That was great. Find a gun, you dummy. Get running. And then the Beneke stuff happens where I really wish there was a gun involved. But no, the Beneke. He is. There was a point in time where we praised Beneke, we praised Skylar. But when I saw Saul and he said this was a bad idea, and I said, you are correct. And I said, damn you, Skylar, when this whole plan came together. And it was damn you, Skylar, before in the last episode too, when you clearly was looking at the place where the rot once lived underneath the house, and you saw that the money bags full of clothes, so you knew what was going to happen. But
place where the rot once lived. I love it. That is as poetic as you've ever been, Adam.
Should more Manhattan on the
saying
the
he who must not be named, the place where the rot once lived.
Sorry, I messed up. Rot. Anyway, it's a great episode. I've rambled on, and in my poetic ramblings, I let you guys take the floor now.
Todd, why did you pick this episode to be on?
That's a good question. It's a great episode. Why?
I mean, I love the cartel stuff, and I know that this is a culmination of years in terms of what the characters are going through. But we've heard a lot about it, and we have seen a lot of little things. There's a lot of teasers with the cartel, but this is where you finally get the scope of the cartel and just how serious it is between Gus and the cartel. And I love that stuff. I love that whole part of this episode where, I mean, Gus has Mike as his main bodyguard, which is just hilarious. You see them walking up. They're blindfolded. They've just been searched. There's dozens of cartel guys with giant guns, and then there's Gus and a junkie 20-year-old and his grandpa. It's like, and these are the guys that are rolling in there.
It's a ragtag group.
Yeah. And and Mike even gets to like brutally murder somebody in this, which is, I mean, it doesn't matter how many times you've seen the episode, it still is shocking to see Mike do those kinds of things.
Yeah, the look of what the hell on Jesse's face is just priceless.
Like, he didn't really care. He's like, yeah, I've been in enough parties. I see people just like passing out, but like, oh shit, Mike just
he
Mike
hosted
strangled that guy.
He hosted a couple parties like that a couple weeks ago. Yeah,
from Jesse of like, no, this is a party.
Man, he's like, man, I wish I could have had some of that tequila, but which that tequila does make several appearances in Better Call Saul. It's sort of like a legendary bottle. But there is, and I love the Ted and Skylar stuff, especially Saul, who thinks that he could spin absolutely anything at any time, and even this, he's like, I can't sell this one. This is too dumb. You know, he's like, oh, I didn't even think about the fact that she wouldn't have you in your will, and then he's like, well, let me try to bullshit something here real quick. Oh yeah, I seen that one. It's like he was dreading that moment the whole day. You could tell, and I love that. I mean, because the stakes are just so high, and that this episode it just is killer at almost every second.
Yeah, well, and this whole season has been so much about Walt versus Gus, and then you have this episode here where you realize just how much Gus has been dealing with on the side. And like, we got some backstory to it a few episodes ago, but now it's like, no, this is the level this has gotten to. They're going to Mexico and they're playing a giant game of chicken. And he has promised Jesse to the cartel, but no, he's going to kill the entire cartel instead. Like, it shows just how savage Gus is and can be, and just how much Gus actually trusts Jesse now too. Like, to have him be, like you said, it's a 3-man crew, right? It's Gus, the 20-year-old junkie, and Grandpa, but Jesse's in that crew, right? It's not Tyrus, it's Jesse.
Well, see, one thing that I've never really understood is that his purity was 96.2%. Yeah, isn't that basically what Gale's was? Yeah, like, and he didn't even have the same recipe. And he's like, oh, yeah, and Gale was always like, oh, yeah, Walter's is like 99 or beyond that. I don't even have a tool that can measure how good his stuff is. But he's always like 96 is mine. So like, would Gale have been in Jesse's place even if he hadn't had the? I mean, I guess they would have never had the blue at that point.
Yeah, but that crap lab. I mean, I think that you could say that accounted for some of that. Like, that place was a dump. Like, Jesse was totally justified in being, we need to clean this entire place, and only then we cook. Yeah, he was totally justified in that. I think there was definitely some contaminants, some flies in the ointment, you might say, some keys on the workstation, if you will, in that lab in Mexico. How many other ways have they talked about stuff not being the way it should be in Walt's lab? Yeah. Oh, it's just so good, right? I mean, seeing everything. And okay, I know Adam's fed up with Ted, but the Ted stuff is so interesting. Right? The fact that Skylar is going to all these lengths just to make sure that the IRS has no reason to look at her. I mean, other than boobs. Get it? You get, well, yeah, of course. But she'll go to any length, including yeah. But and to see what Ted decides to do with it, and he's like, oh, it'll work out, and Skylar's like, this is the IRS. This is the best deal you're gonna get.
That's a good deal.
It's a good deal. You don't go to prison. That's a good deal.
like, yeah, but I need to give the money to my employees.
I need to get
Well,
them
yeah,
back.
but you need to be out of
wages.
prison, you dumb shit.
Yeah.
She did everything but say that. Like,
so you know what asshole means.
Yeah, good line too, by the way. Great line.
Yeah, there's so much good stuff. So let's get into it. What is the best scene of this episode? I'm gonna go to Todd first because I know Adam just finished this episode like 30 seconds ago. So I'm gonna give him some time to make sure he's processing everything that should be in his categories. But Todd,
okay.
Todd, what's best scene?
It's Jesse telling the chemist who's boss. Like, I mean, because he just explodes in that moment and is just so in his element. You know, he drops a bitch. He does everything that, but he also, you could tell that he knows what he's doing. He's like, I'm the guy that your boss brought here to show you how it's done. And you get those shots of Gus with just that smirk on his face, like, "Ah, kid," and Mike's like, "Proud of you," pretty much just what the
You are the guy.
And yeah, it's just,
I had a guy. Now you're the guy.
You've graduated.
Yeah, you are the guy now. But yeah, I mean, and everything you said was totally perfect and totally justified, and he became a little bit of Walt in that moment, and that's exactly what needed to happen.
He knew how to look the part. He totally knew how to look the part, and he stepped into it like, oh, I am the expert. I know what I'm doing, and I need to show it. And again, it's interesting. I don't think any of this happens if Gus didn't arrange for that little robbery to take place when he first was backing up Mike. Like all this stems back to that. He just needed a little bit of confidence. He needed to be reminded that he has a place, he has a purpose, he has a use, and this is where just that little bit of confidence ends up. That I had several written down. That is one of the ones I had written down because it's just so good. Like to see Jesse finally step up and say, "I'm here. This is who I am. I can be the guy." It's great.
Yeah, well, he just hates people talking down to him, and that was the one time that he actually had the clout to talk back because he wasn't talking to Mr. White.
Yeah. I think the only thing that make that scene even better is that he's like, "Oh, you speak English, so you know what asshole means, right?" So that's a great like comeback, right? It would have been awesome at the pool scene is if, "Oh, he doesn't speak Spanish." He's like, and he says something in Spanish. I think that would have been freaking phenomenal. It's like, "Yeah, I took Spanish in high school, biatch." Or something. Like, that would be fucking. That would be,
I mean,
great.
he took Spanish he took chemistry in high school and did him no good. So,
well,
Spanish would help.
I mean, he had Emilio around. Like, I'm sure that he caught some Spanish every once in a while, and yeah.
And you know it was only 96% pure because he snuck in just that little bit of chili pea, right?
Yeah.
The one thing that he was able to smuggle into the building was chili pea.
Chili powder.
Do you have to like declare that when
chili powder?
You have to declare that when you fly into the country, chili pea.
Well, I'm pretty sure that plane was was not going through customs.
That plane was sans customs, exactly.
The plane's name was custom.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, I went through customs. That was the name of the plane. All right, Adam, what's the best scene?
Well, that's a great pick, Todd. I think that's one that I had. I specifically said Jesse talks to an asshole. That's what that's what I said. That's my note here.
I wrote it down as Jesse's lab. That's what I said because that's his lab in that moment.
Yeah, he's the meth cook now. Anyway,
I'm the meth cook now.
Yeah, that's a great scene. Obviously, the pool scene's great, but I think that's kind of borderline cheating if that's the scene we're picking as it because it's bona fide the scene. I'm gonna go with Walter Jr., Walter Sr. talking, sharing stories of Walter Jr.'s grandfather. So I thought that was just a kind of really fascinating like development there, and obviously some more real stuff. He's like, I don't want to have you have that memory of me when I die. He's like, well, I kind of would like that because you're actually so real right now, and it as a parent, you try to hide things from your kids, but at the same time, is that kids ain't stupid. They granted he has some age on my kids, but kids, they're a lot smarter. They can handle a lot more things than we give them credit for sometimes. So having him kind of pick up on the fact that this isn't he's not being quite real, considering he probably wants Jesse as a son. He's realizing, or who the hell is Jesse? And we could talk about that a little bit later. The whole Jesse name drop. The guy does not do well on drugs. Okay, Walter Sr. does not do well on painkillers or any high dosage. I bet he can't even withstand like a couple tablets of ibuprofen. Honestly, he has loose lips.
Lightweight.
He's a lightweight. Okay, LVP, his light weakness. But yeah, it's a great sequence there. I think Walter Jr. really came in clutch in this episode. We haven't really seen him a ton in this season, so having specific moments with him in this was really, I think, beneficial to the story. We make fun of how old the guy looks, but I think those scenes were really effective. So.
Well, and outside of SaveWalterWhite.com, we haven't really seen him be useful.
Yeah.
What would you say you do here?
Yeah.
He just rolls out of bed at noon.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, it is his birthday, and he's 16. You get the
pancake, and he wants pancakes
summer now, so I'm okay with that. But yeah, I had written down Walton Flynn, and you could be either one. So you went with the one where they're telling stories about Grandpa. I'll go with the first one because
that's a good one too.
He has to be the adult. Walter Jr. has to be the adult in that moment, and then you have him calling him Jesse, and the clutch moment of that whole scene is Walt has no idea what's going on. He has no clue what's happening, but he has enough in his head to know that he needs to say gambling and not, cooking. He had enough just clarity to know, wait, I need to spin at least a little bit of this lie to make this work. But other than that, he was completely raw. I thought that was fascinating that he had just enough forethought of, oh, I need to say this, and that's what we're going to go with. But at the same time, he was out of it. Other than that, you could almost say that's a flaw in the episode. How could he be that out of it, but still be able to say, "Oh no, I was gambling"?
Well, it took him a minute though, because he's like, I'm calling mom, and he's like, and then it took him like a bit to be like, wait, no, we can't do that. But it's like he was back to a wall there for a second.
Because that phone call is going to go straight to Hank at that point if he called his mom. So called Skylar. Because that's what she said. She's like, we're going to go straight to the police if anything negative happens, essentially.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now we're kind of avoiding it, but we got to talk a little bit. I think we got to talk a little more about this pool scene. The poolside scene.
Oh,
it's because this thing is the whole thing right here, right? That like this is it takes up the majority of the end of this episode, and oh my word, how this whole thing plays out. You get the symmetry of how this looks versus how the first time we saw that pool looked, of Don Eladio walking in. You've got Gus with his guys or guy in the first one, and Gus actually has the upper hand this time, and nobody knows it. And it's that standoff of who's going to drink first, and he drinks it full knowing that he's poisoning himself. And the Don is wondering what's going on. He even sends someone to the bathroom with him to double check what's going on. I mean, it's there's so much to unpack in that scene, but it is such a cool scene, and it's one of those that just leaves your jaw dropped that whole time of what just happened and what's going to happen. Like, this is what possibly the biggest cliffhanger we've had the entire season, because you have potentially Gus dying in the back, you've got potentially Mike bleeding out in the front, and Jesse
not knowing where he's at,
knowing he's in the middle of Mexico somewhere, not knowing what the hell is going on.
He's like, I know I lived in New Mexico, but what Mexico is this?
Which way to the ABQ? Yeah.
Yeah, the brilliance of the pool scene is like there's so many things that you just don't know what you're exactly watching. Like, you get Gus right off the bat, he pulls out his like breath mint container and he's got some pills in there. It's like, what the hell is he actually doing? And then you kind of realize what he was doing, and then you get like Mike tearing the necklace off of Don Eladio in the pool. It's like, what's going on there? And it's just like, and why is that guy still standing? And where did that guy come from? There's just like a whole bunch of things that are thrown at you in the last like basically like 12 minutes of the episode, and it is as breathless of a point as you have in the entire show to this point.
And you're seeing the whole thing from Jesse's eyes, because Jesse is as clueless as you are. And then the moment of declaration, Don Eladio is dead. Fill your pockets and leave, or stay and die. I mean,
see, and Gus had a couple of those moments. He goes out like he's what Jesse said, like the Terminator into the middle of the thing where everyone's shooting at him, and now he has that moment where he's just like, wow, that he really is like, it's like all this like deep seated stuff in him that comes out in like these spurts. But other than that, he's like the most reserved guy who even has to take off his jacket to throw up in the bathroom. You know,
and then you want Jesse to get rid of his nightmares. Try capping a guy with an entire clip while your life is on the line. Like, you could tell in that moment, it's like Jesse's taking a guy out. He didn't hesitate, right? He just was, last episode, he was shot at by a sniper and he just stood there and waited for it. And now he's got a gun. He's taking a guy out. He's shooting another guy. He's increasing his body count. And this is what's going to fix Jesse moving forward.
He's hoping the sales of that video game that hasn't been released yet.
Yes.
He was feeling rage.
There it is. Rage. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Adam, you said you loved this scene too.
That scene's great. It was weird to see him like eat some like really weird shaped antacids. I thought for a second they remember me alfalfa pills because they're shaped like that in green as well. But then it's an antidote for poison. Wouldn't it be crazy if it was ricin as well? Wouldn't that be awesome?
Jesse had the secret upper hand.
Yeah, and then Jesse wants to smoke. He's like, "Where's my cigarette?"
Oh, he's got a pill box. Let's just slip this one in there.
It'd be crazy though. It'd be the craziest twist ever. Is like he goes for this next smoke, but his lucky cigarette's not in there, and it's just Gus is like, "Don't worry, we just used it." Like he already knew that there was a kill spot. I don't know. That'd be too messed up.
Jesse won't even smoke the cigar though. He's like no.
One puff. Yeah, what a light.
Well, yeah, because he doesn't want to stay in Mexico. I mean, of all the things, I was like, Jesse, what are you doing? Just smoke the damn cigar. I mean, it's probably a Cuban. What are you doing? Just enjoy yourself just the littlest bit while you can. You've got Mike's assurances. That's all you need.
That's why I like the golf course. You just go golfing and you smoke some cigars. It's a great time. But yeah, he can't smoke a cigar poolside with a girl on his lap. Come on.
When he was on the job, he felt like he was doing something. Him and Mike and Gaff were on the job.
Oh, and how clutch is the whole he's an addict. You can't give him the tequila. It's like, oh, then no, you don't get any.
Like he can't. He's sober. He can't when he's working. he works. He can't do it when he's cooking.
Oh, it was so clutch. It was so clutch.
Mhm.
Yeah. So much good stuff. So much good stuff.
So
All right, we
good
gotta move
stuff.
on. We gotta move on.
So one last thing.
Oh yeah.
The wife thought when the box was open, she's like, "Oh, is it gonna be that old guy?" The old guy. I was like, "What old guy?" It's like the wheelchair. I was like, What's gonna be his bell? His bell's gonna be in there." I was like, pretty sure that old guy used to work for him.
Or just go full what's in the box and
It's
he
his
opens
head.
the box. What happened to the Theo?
Yeah. But that's an interesting point. We might have to
What's
dive
in
into
the
that.
box?
'Cause now
And why
essentially
is it the Theo?
the Tio's the last man standing or rolling, but
Last man dinging.
all right, let's get into these categories. We're 31 minutes.
Bogdan douchebag award goes to who, Adam?
Wait, with the Bogdan Birgit, the not leaving a will and giving and being the last. Actually, maybe it's Binicky for being the last relative, but yeah, probably Birgit. Yeah.
Oh no, this has to go to Benicio Fuentes,
Yeah.
the lead of the Mexican lab.
Oh yeah, that's a clear answer. Correct.
That's the clear answer. He is such a douchebag in all that he does, and the worst part of it is the whole I'm only going to speak Spanish just because I know he doesn't speak it. And then when he starts talking to him, it's like, I speak English. Oh, okay. So you were just being a douchebag.
Yeah, you know
that's it. That's the answer.
Yeah,
and he still won't admit that Jesse's a chemist, even at the pool. And even Ladio's like,
he is
his
chemist.
product is better than yours. So it doesn't matter how many school you went to.
Yep.
Which is great too.
Is that what you had, Todd?
Yeah, I mean, I also had Walter Jr. written down because his mom bought him a brand new car for his 16th birthday, and he's just like, I'd rather eat pancakes.
Pancakes are so good. Put some chocolate chips in those things; they're delicious.
That is a good call.
Give me some French toast instead.
He is 16. I mean, it's somewhat understandable from a 16-year-old. The pink man, stick man of the movie. All right, I'm going first on this one. I got Great Aunt Birgit. I think it's the only answer here. No. I mean, she lives in Luxembourg. And I mean, you could maybe say that she's an anti-stick man because she had no relatives.
Living
I don't know
relatives.
But who knows? Great Aunt Birgit. You know, Great Aunt Birgit in Luxembourg is having some fun. So that's who I went with. Todd.
We're giving out lifetime achievement awards, huh?
Exactly. I mean, she died a decade ago. So
well, I wrote down Joaquin Salamanca, who is he's a Salamanca, obviously, and he's the one that actually shoots Mike, and because he's the one that actually wasn't at the party, he was probably in the room with some girl getting it on, and he was the only guy that didn't get poisoned. At least the only guy that wasn't standing out there. Like, I mean, because Gaff for some reason didn't take a shot, but he was doing something else. I mean, you got to think that he probably was hooking up with one of the girls.
I like that. Like because all those girls were just waiting in the house, right? So if he wasn't out there taking a shot, he was in there hanging out with the girls.
Enough business. Bring on the girls.
Exactly.
Where's my lucky one? No.
Adam, what do you got?
Walter Sr.'s gouge in his head because the pillowcase literally was in it, or whatever was on his face. A thing was inserted into his wound. Okay.
Brilliant.
Well done. Best new face. Hey, that's Danny Trejo. Award goes to who, Todd?
I went with Miguel, who is the giant cartel enforcer guy, because he is basically the Huel of Mexico, and I want to see a little bit more of that guy.
That's a great.
He kind of reminded me of if Goldberg from the Mighty Ducks grew up. That's who it is. It's Goldberg. The Huel, though. Apparently, yeah, he's the cartel's version of Huel. Has
We get
stomach
him to go
issues.
just go stand outside the bathroom. I mean, it's like that's exactly something he would get.
There's
forced to do.
a free. Yeah, well, he needs to be close to the bathroom for his stomach issues, so it's brilliant.
He kind of looked a little like Tuco's bodyguard who got his arm stuck
Oh yeah.
moving the body. It was like, don't do it, don't do it. Like that. He kind of looked a little like that guy.
Good call.
All right, Adam, who's your best new face?
I didn't really have a person. I had that bottle of tequila though. The bottle of tequila is the
That's a
best
good
new.
call.
It's the bottle of tequila. The what is it? Saverio and Hio.
And Neho.
Zafiro Añejo.
Yeah. Well, the poetry's gone, folks.
Even the bottle's a work of art.
Yeah, even the
Almost too
bottle's
good
work
to
of
share.
It still baffles me that you're married to someone who speaks Spanish and you have no idea how the language works.
Hey, I'm not on trial here. Let's get these. Let's get the Breaking Bad here. Well, that's like your opinion, man.
That's just like your opinion, man. That's great. All right, I'm gonna go with my best new face is Rick Ortega as the waiter, because I mean his life is on the line. Because I mean, if he spills a drop of that tequila while he's pouring those shots, he's getting a bullet to the head. That's like some.
He said he's gonna cut off his hand, didn't he?
Cut off his hand. Either way, I mean that's some high stakes there, and he performs admirably, and moves on with all of his appendages. So bravo to Rick Ortega, the waiter. I think he deserves
I like it.
All right. The Gomi minor character of the episode goes to who, Adam?
What was Miguel was pretty great. Just standing by the bathroom, hanging out with the chicks. The chick that brought Jesse a cigar is up there in the running because I'm pretty sure they stared at her ass long enough. But Walter's father is up there with medium rare steak choice. It's a really great call. Yeah, good steak option. Yeah, you know what? Screw it. We're going to go with the cigar lady, cigar bringer of cigars, who also clearly wants to get it in with Jesse, and then moves on rather quickly.
I mean, she did if the cigar counts.
Yeah, that is true. But it is Cigar Girl. Yeah, by the poolside there.
All right. There's some good options that are a little more than just minor characters here. I'm gonna go with Saul. He only has a couple scenes, but he's awesome in this one. Like you first see him and he's just banging his head on his desk like, this is dumb. It's not gonna work. It's not gonna work.
Cinnamon.
And then exactly how Todd was saying it, he BS's his way through that. I don't know how to sell this, but I'm going to. And when you're desperate enough, it doesn't really matter. And then he gets to rub it in Skylar's face too. That yeah, I was right. You were wrong. I'm smart. You're dumb. I'm handsome. You're not very attractive. Yeah. Like he could have gone through that whole list and no one would have really batted an eye at that point. But yeah, Saul's my minor character. Todd.
Yeah, Saul's a great one. I mean, you could say Don Eladio. I just love Stephen Bauer in that part.
Oh, he's awesome.
I wrote down Lewis because he's mentioned as Walter Jr.'s alibi. He needs to come back. I don't actually think he comes back.
Yeah, I don't think we see him ever again. I think Caleb Landry Jones probably was too big at that point. Like he was starting to do other things.
So it's either Lewis or Tyrus. I love that Tyrus is just chilling outside Walter's place. It's just like, dude, get back to work. Like it's been like 2 days
somewhere.
And he has no idea what's going on in Mexico. He may have a slight idea of what's trying to go on, but he has no idea.
Well, he has the littlest idea because of what Jesse told him. I don't know how much of it he was actually listening to because he was, too busy about to tell. He was rehearsing in his head how he was about to tell Jesse off. But yeah, that's a good point. the Don Eladio shout out is great too, because it takes a special kind of actor that the moment he walks in the door, you know he's in charge and the most important, coolest person in the room. And when Don Eladio walks in, you know that, right? You know that's him, and that's worth shouting out. Cowhouse, dumbest. Oh, go ahead.
Real quick, I think we should shout out Zach Saltz, the one and only. He comes in with this big dick energy. It's just baffling. It's amazing.
That is a great description of Don Eladio. It really is. It really is.
I love silly. I love stupid.
And it really does. It really does.
This is Radio Gold.
He's never on the show, but we can at least reference him.
We can. Let's see here. What else could I pull out for Zach here? I don't think I have any other good ones here.
The tapestry of shit's not quite up there yet.
All right. Well, let's leave the Zach behind.
Bye bye.
There we go. And now let's move on to the Cowhouse dumbest thing said in this episode. I'll go first. I've got a couple things here. I know how to do it because I grabbed the barrel with the B on it.
Yeah, that's
like
the
that.
one.
That you know, Gus at that point is like, you got to be kidding me.
I'm surrounded.
But Jesse owns that though. He knew this whole time that he's like, I'm not good enough. I don't know what I'm doing without Mr. White there. And this is another example of him being like, dude, I can't do that. I get it with the barrel with the B on it. I'm not going to be able to do this.
I know how to replicate. I'm not actually a chemist, right? Yeah. He can do what he knows.
He's a slightly more informed version of Victor, who just watched him do the recipe, and it's like who knows nothing about chemistry either. But I mean, Jesse knows a little bit more than that.
Now you think about it. If Victor's still around, Victor's the one in Mexico with them, right? Victor is the one that is in the middle of this whole thing. And Victor's probably read in on what's about to happen. Like he's in on the whole process at that point.
But he's still not a chemist.
True,
but he knows Spanish.
He knows the formula. He knows Spanish, and you would look at him and say, "Okay, this guy's somewhat respectable." Okay, I have one other thing, and the other thing I have for the dumbest thing said is, celebrities need their car washed too.
Yeah.
And
why was that so funny? Why was that
the
so
suit?
Funny?
Like the other dumbest thing said is just it is how loud his suit actually is in that scene, because it is as loud as anything else that happens in the entire episode.
Walter Jr.'s jacket. It's the orangest orange I've ever seen.
Yeah, but that you can pull that off. But he's got Saul's got 3 different clashing colors all going on at the same time. It's nuts.
Oh yeah, that's Saul.
Yeah, it's Saul. Todd, what do you got for the dumbest thing said?
I wrote down, "Come in if you're coming in," which I don't know if it's that dumb. It was. I kind of want to use that now, but
come in if you're coming in. That's a great line.
And I don't care if he's a pig farmer. That's what Don Eladio says about Jesse.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
I don't know. Some of the analogies are just a little strange.
Someone in that scene needed to be named Leon. I really think so.
Yes, or the Utah quarterback.
I don't understand that.
Yes, or the Utah quarterback. Just his name is the Utah quarterback. Adam, did you have anything for dumbest thing said?
Yeah, you had the bumblebee. As I grabbed the one with a B on it. That's pretty awesome. Also the me saying Saverio Angeo, which is pretty horrible. That's pretty dumb. Yeah.
It still wasn't quite right, but it was better.
Yeah, I know. I understand what's being said. I can't speak it, okay? I can understand. It gets yelled at me a lot, okay?
Okay. Now, all right, Todd, I want to jump ahead a few episodes here, and it's not really anything that's a spoiler, but the bumblebee, isn't that the methylamine?
The bumblebee?
barrel with the bee on it?
Of the barrel to be.
Yeah, that's where
Isn't
they
that
hide
the
the meth in
methylamine?
it. That's where they hide the meth in.
I don't know.
Um,
I mean, I
like-
don't.
do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
Adam doesn't. I know Adam doesn't. I'm talking to Todd.
Kind of, yeah, but I mean, I don't know. I
Is
don't know with the bee. I don't know if they mentioned it with the bee, but
Okay.
could be. I don't know.
I thought like, okay, like in what are we in? In like 6 episodes, Adam. We'll talk about this again.
So this
Okay.
this segment will pay off at some point. Okay. gotcha.
At some point, we'll get a chance to talk about this again. Okay, problems, outdated, anything like that we want to bring up. I'll bring up the fact that PT Cruiser. I mean, a viable
It was
used
hot for a
car.
summer. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, at the time, it would be questionable if a PT Cruiser is a viable used car. Have they made? I don't think they've made a PT Cruiser in 10 years, so it's really not a viable used car anymore.
Did
But-
she say it was used?
It
Yeah,
was
well,
used.
that-
They referenced in the previous episode it was used. You
Yeah,
can also tell
they're
when he
gonna buy them a
drives
used
away.
car.
There's also a big gouge in the side behind the passenger door. There's a big rusty spot.
I mean, I saw that. I was gonna attribute that to Walter Jr.'s driving skills because he already.
Oh
dented
yeah,
his
well,
car.
it drives
But-
great. Super
I
safe.
don't know if she would buy a car that was already dented. Everything else looked really nice.
Yeah.
But I mean, it has a CD player and heated
Yeah.
steering. I mean, that'd be a little outdated as being like a fancy thing. Although I do miss my CD player in my car because I don't have any place to play CDs now.
Play your tunes.
Yeah.
Yeah, saying that it has a CD player as a selling point for a car. That's I guess like with Todd, like I still have all my old CDs like in my little like binder from my vehicle too. So like I liked having my CD player. Like there was something unique listening to the same 5 CDs over and over again, even though the thing was completely full. It's great.
Yep.
I only knew one guy that had a PT Cruiser. Shout out to Joe Magnus. I know you're listening from Texas.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, he was the only person I ever knew that had a PT Cruiser. So
I thought you were making a comment that he was the only guy you knew that had a PT Cruiser.
No, he was the only person, literally the only person that I knew. And Todd knows him.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he worked at FedEx. Like he was the only person I ever knew that had a PT
Cascade Christian High School.
Cruiser. Yeah.
Shout out. Awesome. All right. What is the midlife crisis moment?
Yeah, PT Cruisers are lame. That's the thing. Owning a PT Cruiser probably and thinking it's cool.
All right. I'm going to go with something that I think Adam you mentioned earlier when you said that Walter Jr. was a douchebag. I'm going midlife crisis moment here. When you're promised food, nothing else really matters at that point. And like he's promised pancakes. Like, oh, you've got a new car. You want to take it for a drive? He's like, no, I want pancakes. You said you're making pancakes. I'm kind of starving. Like I like totally related to them at that point. It's like, I mean, I get it, Mom. You're trying to make this car cool, and it kind of is. But I'm really hungry.
Yeah.
And you said pancakes.
Pancakes
So-
Not that.
I know, but it's just the whole like I'm like the most relatable moment in the episode for me was the no, I need some food. That's the most important part at this point.
I do have
Least
an-
relatable moment is waking up at noon.
Yeah.
But like
My wife-
physical activity and a couple beers turning into a hangover somehow. I mean, could be if you're Walt's age.
And painkillers. You missed the part that he like
Yeah.
downed like a bottle of Vicodin or something like that.
Yeah, he had some leftover. I did have another. I actually had another line here. The thought of sleeping on the couch sounds painful. It just no, too much pain. Not comfortable at all. I couldn't do it. Wouldn't do it. That's why I try to
Yeah.
watch what I say with the wife, so I don't have to sleep on the couch at night. Yeah. You be respectful. Yeah, Don't want.
But there was some novelty to it when you were 16. But
Oh yeah, it was cool.
yeah.
Isn't that
So
isn't that funny?
Walter
how things
Jr. had no
change?
problem with it. Yeah.
Well, somewhat related. Mine is Gus setting down something on the floor so he can kneel on the floor because it's gonna hurt too much to have it actually your knees actually be on the floor.
This is the second time in a row that Todd's midlife crisis moment revolves the state of his knees.
Yep.
Sucks being tall, huh?
It sucks having crappy knees. I think that's the point.
Yeah. That is
Uh,
true. I forgot. Yeah.
All right. LVP of the episode, Todd.
Well, it's Ted and his inability to read the room and take a hint and use any judgment whatsoever. Like Ted's the LVP.
That's fair. That's fair. That's who I had done too. It's Ted. It's Ted.
It's Ted.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. MVP is who, Adam?
Small shout out to the box that the tequila was in. I thought that was pretty awesome. Nice blue ribbon on it. I want to say Walter Jr. is the MVP here. Okay. I think that the fact that he stayed at the house and just said, "Hey, Mom, I'm with Lewis," and didn't actually say anything, and then also didn't. Who knows if again? I don't know what happens next episode or a couple episodes down the line. I know for a fact he's heard the name Jesse before. Okay, like Hank has said this name before, so. He didn't. I don't know if he's connected these dots yet. Who knows? But the fact that he stayed there, he fixed the eyeglasses, Walter Sr.'s eyeglasses, and he had a nice, real conversation with his dad. MVP worthy.
Yeah, this is definitely like the best episode for Walter Jr. So far. He just steps up and rules this episode. It's a great call. Todd, who do you got?
I got Walt's like teaching skills because he's able to just go on this like rambling story of his childhood and make it somehow absolutely riveting and powerful and meaningful and manipulative. It's like he's able to spin this whole thing the more after he knows exactly what he's doing and it's like he's
doing.
He's preaching to his class.
He knows exactly what he's doing.
He does.
All right, I've got two written down, and I was waiting for one of you to say one of them so I could go with the other, and none of you did. So I'm going to go to first, Gus. I mean, the fact that he's able to get to this point, like you can tell he's been planning this moment.
It's Gus's cojones.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah,
he's been planning this moment for, what did he say, 20 years? Like every 20 years you have to be put in your place. He's been planning this moment for 20 years. And like
I don't know how he got the box there though. If like this box could have been a gun or something. Like you're going to tell me that nobody opened that thing on the way there?
So
it was the only thing he brought on the plane.
The guy gave the head nod that it was safe, which was weird.
Oh, so maybe it had been checked already. That's possible. But yeah, I mean, this whole season we've been told that, you know, the world revolves around the Gus and Walt rivalry. No, Gus's world revolves around the Gus Don Eladio rivalry. And Walt is a small player in his life. And this episode truly shows that he's been working his whole life, or at least the last 20 years, to make this moment happen. Which leads to my other MVP, which is Jesse. Because this moment doesn't happen if it's not for Jesse. Like, Jesse is the one that, like, Gus has been planning this for 20 years. And Jesse is the one he's going to trust to make it work. Like, wow. And he does. Like, he steps up to the plate, he makes the good batch of meth, and then he shows that he's useful, finds a gun, and actually uses it. Right? Like, he steps up to every plate possible throughout that entire time in Mexico. Jesse, Gus, they're my MVPs.
It's a good call. The only LVP-ish moment for Jesse is he takes a whole clip to kill a guy, finally hit him with a bullet. But at the same time, he's under duress. He's never actually done that before, which is awesome. So he stuck the landing. So it's good.
All right. Well, we're gonna get Adam's take on what he thinks is gonna happen next. But first, we need the Walter White body count, which remains at 1 Emilio, 1 A Crazy 8, 1 Ken Wins car, 1 Custodian's career, 1 Tuco hideout, 1 lock, 1 uneaten burrito, 1 paper towel holder, rot. 1 back door to Jesse's house, 1 love of Jesse's life, a few burned $100 bills, 1 pepperoni pizza, 1 career in education, 1 meth making RV, 1 beginning of a galeful friendship, 1 fly, 2 kid killing drug dealers, 1 Gail Bedecker, 1 fateful bottle of wine, 3 laundry worker jobs. Underrated part of the body count, by the way, is the laundry worker jobs. 1 Walter Jr. dream car and 1 Pinkman living room. And the Jesse ass kick count, after getting raised last time, remains at 9.5. I think if he had been poisoned, that would have been like worth 2, but he didn't. I forgot to do the math, but it's now like he gets his ass kicked like once every like 4.2 episodes, something like that. I'll do the math really quick.
My conspiracy theory is that I don't think that line will be as nearly as powerful if he actually had a black eye. The fact that he had a bruise on his chin makes him look a lot cooler than if he had a black eye.
Oh yeah, he's like John McClane in this.
Yeah, that is true.
All right, every 4.5 episodes he gets his ass kicked. I went the wrong. Okay, Adam, what's happening next? We've got 3 episodes left in the season.
Lord have mercy. Okay. Okay, the only guy that the TO is still out there on the board. Gus is having frequent visits with him. He's the last guy who is responsible for killing the original cook, and possibly Gus's lover. Who knows what happens there? But that is significant. I feel. I want to. We have to at some point see what Jesse feels about the whole fight with Walt, because we clearly saw what Walt felt about it. We need to see them cook together once again to see to get some kind of resolution there.
Well, we know he's no longer welcome in his house.
That is true. Unfortunately, I think we do have another episode with Beneke because that was you. Yeah, dumb. Cannot wait for Beneke to show up again. That's gonna be great. Man, why we have turned? I have turned so hard on Beneke and Skylar. I've been kind of annoyed by it at the same time because I'm like, damn you, Skylar! Like, really, you gave $600,000 to him? This guy, $600,000. That's a lot of. It's like a day's wage for Walter Senior, but still, it's a lot. That's a lot of cheddar for. Yeah, that's a couple of years' wages for us, mere mortals here. Yeah, that's a lot of money. Yeah, I think Gus is going to have an appreciation to him, but at the same time, as Jesse not knowing what the hell's going on, that I don't think that's something. Maybe that doesn't sit well 100% with him, and he would like to have more answers or more knowledge of what's going to happen to him, possibly too, because I can't see that going over too well. Like, I could have died. Like, granted, you know all the moves ahead of time, but at the same time, as just takes one guy to like me not be prepared for something, and then I could have died. and you were gonna leave me in Mexico, really? Maybe you have to leave him out in the dark a little bit to have those genuine reactions. But and do we think Walter Jr. is going to keep that PT Cruiser? That's the thing.
This is the real question we need to answer.
Yeah.
Will he keep the PT Cruiser?
And where's Wendy? That's the question.
And where's Wendy? I agree.
Yeah, because Wendy could be like the front runner for like minor character that gets picked in our draft, like character draft. Minor character.
I think it's fair that Wendy will get picked.
She's definitely going to be like one of the top 2 picks. Maybe she's going to go in the she's going to probably go in the third round of the picks after all the.
Depending on how deep we go, Wendy's root beer might get picked.
Wendy's root beer. Well, depending on some of the characters, they actually have more depth and storytelling than some of them. Yeah.
All right, Todd. Last thoughts on this episode.
Well, I mean, it's just a great episode, and I will say, the rest of the season, it doesn't stop. Like, I mean, the rest of this season is absolute craziness.
I was gonna say, how much is Adam gonna love the next episode?
Yeah,
I gotta say, this is actually my favorite season so far.
Oh, he is picking this
so far
over the Dane.
Yeah, I like seeing the drama is it's ripe for the picking, and Gus is maybe it's Giancarlo Esposito and his vibe, but he is just everything with his character right now. It just seems is awesome. So yeah, can't wait to see what happens next.
He's really gonna love the next episode, isn't he, Todd?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh man. Oh yeah. Oh, you don't even know. You don't even know what's coming next. Oh my word! This season, the next 3 episodes, like you look on IMDb. There's a reason that episode 11 and episode 13 of this season are like 2 of the top rated episodes of the entire show. Like they each have like 9.9s out of 10 on IMDb, and it's for a reason. So,
well, there's so much fallout from the end of these episodes now, and like questions that you have, even at the end of the season, there's still like I mean, every episode now from now to the end of the show, there's so much fallout, and so it picks up where the next episode or the previous episode left off, and I love that.
Yeah,
nice.
It's gonna be great. All right, Adam, bring us home.
All right, everybody. Well, that has been another episode of us breaking down Breaking Bad.
Breakdown of Breaking Bad.
Can't hear the sound bites, so I'm assuming
it happened. It happened.
It happened. All right. Well, good. I'll take your word for it. Anyway, been really awesome talking about this episode. I'm really looking forward to next week's episode and the following episodes too, where we ask the hard questions. Not actually ask. We will be demanding that Todd be back for the season finale of this season. So we'll see Todd in 3 weeks, folks. Pressure's on you, bud. Be there, be square. Just be there. Anyway, looking forward to next week's episode. We're apparently it's a 9.9, so we're gonna give it a 10, and we'll check in with you next week, folks. As always, Terry, what do we do?
Well, first we thank Todd for being here. Thank you so much, Todd, for being here.
Well, he's gonna be like
and
a regular at this point.
We're gonna demand that you sit and spit.